Yeah, so I saw it tucked in the... I just wasn't able to tell whether or not the missile was tucked in, because they almost always seem to be in the same position. Yeah, I realized after the fact. My idiocy is not limited to Dota analysis. I'm an equal opportunity moron. Alright, let's go... I want to do as much of this nebula as I can. I think that'll still give me enough space. Thanks for stopping by the way, I forgot to mention. I was simply just using that as an excuse as to why I wasn't giving you a more substantial reply. This nebula turns out to be the hiding place of a terrified rock crew taking refuge from the Zoltan border police. They don't seem prepared to risk leaving with their coordinates and open fire. Or risk you leaving with their coordinates and open fire. Well, at least I got my shields back. Tried to play Dota for a while, it was a mistake. What hero did you play, Fader 5? Or Heroes, rather. It's not a one-hero game, obviously. Really not a fan of that. Flat cannon. I think in this case I'll use the hull laser because it's a little bit faster, so we'll take down the shields first. You're curious, this is fun too. Dota's an amazing, beautiful game, but has an insane learning curve and people will shred you if you make any sort of mistake. Yeah, definitely. And you don't know what hero you're playing. Alright, so I know exactly... I was going to say, your experience sounds a lot like my first time in Dota. But the one thing I will definitely say, like, I always encourage people to take up Dota as long as they are having some degree of fun. Like, even if it is just, you know, putzing around in a bot game so you can learn how all the mechanics work. You played for about 2 hours before people yelling at you got to be too much. Yeah, I mean, that's the one problem. Not every pub is necessarily going to be full of, you know, reprehensible people. But the game has the reputation that it does for a reason. Yeah, definitely Nick's advice to play with a friend is good. And, I mean, the biggest thing, the thing that got me kind of hooked on Dota was I really enjoyed the process of learning it. I think if I didn't enjoy the process of learning it, I just wouldn't have been able to get through the learning curve. So, and that's the biggest reward to me, right? Is that despite the fact that you have this constant of the map, I think I need to be a little bit better. Oh no, 23 scrap is tempting. I think I will take the offer. Yeah, I have no friends who play the game. That's fine, I don't have any friends. But no, but yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I can say about the experience, like, it's a static map, but just, you know, they're always patching the game to keep the meta in balance. You can, you know, you basically just, there's always something new to learn, and especially because once you get past that initial learning curve, the greatest satisfaction comes in playing against people. There's always going to be some new challenge to overcome. Now, sometimes that challenge is going to be, you know, people, you know, just, I mean, in this case, in some cases, the challenge is on your own team, right? It's the guy who has an attitude problem. But the most rewarding games are the ones where you're able to take a group of strangers and get them kind of coordinated enough to pull off an impossible win. If you ever need a logistics pilot in EVE Online, I'm your pirate. You know, I've never tried EVE Online, but my friend who's at the Paris School of Economics was talking about how interested she was at how, you know, people were analyzing the game's economy and how the developers seemed to be working towards it. And I did let her know that I had a trial account, and if she was in, like, I know enough Python to be able to put some scripts and just kind of do whatever analysis that she wanted. So I've been sitting on an EVE Online trial just to facilitate that project if she was interesting. Yeah, that's what I've heard about EVE. Like, I mean, what I've heard from a lot of people about EVE is that EVE is not fun. but I know enough people who've played EVE that say that it is a lot of fun. So, but I have been sitting on that just because it's a possibly interesting research project, and so if I have somebody who's a little bit better at econometrics than me and they want to see what they can do with some of that gaming data, I would, I'm kind of saving up for that opportunity. Obviously, if she says she's not interested, then I'll just wait until I have some, have a period of time to, you know, to dedicate to learning it. And I'll give it a try then. As you wait for the FTL drive to charge, you half expect to be ambushed at any moment. However, no attack comes. You can't see anything through the thick gases surrounding your ship. Without knowing what's out there, all you can do is wait for your FTL to charge. I think the difference that with Dota 2 is that people are super dependent on you, so they're really hard on you, whereas EVE you can lean... Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment. I mean, I think even... I know we talked about Piri and Flax before. I mean, his earliest videos, when he was learning about it, was talking about... Like, his whole course is like, why do people get so mad at Dota? It's like, you know, it's not like you keep the gold when the game is done. But it's effectively 30 minutes. And I mean, let's face it, when you're low skill, just about every single game is about 50 to 60 minutes. So effectively what's happened is you've just, like, if you're the weakest link on the team, you've just wasted people's time, and that's probably the thing that everybody values the most right now. I mean, for crying out loud, we have websites dedicated to keeping messages down to 140 characters because nobody has time to read anything longer. So I think there's some insight into that. Anyways, more waiting. It's like DOS boot. Extreme periods of boredom followed by moments of sheer terror. Inside this nebula, you detect a rogue planet drifting through space. On the surface, a huge monolith visible at this distance, even to the naked eye. A Zoltan Elder hails you from the planet. Through luck or intent, you have discovered the Great Eye. Look into its depths and receive your just deserts. Pull the ship in closer or leave? Well, it's not an adventure game if you walk away from every challenge, so we'll pull it in closer. As you approach the planet carefully, trying to keep your ship from breaking up in orbit, the monolith, whatever it is, must sense as much, because the next thing you know, you have enough scrapped to patch up your damage and more besides. 47. It's not a distraction. It's a lot of fun to have you in. Apparently, I avoided certain death. Usually, that kills a character. Okay, the RNG gods are just having mercy on me. But thanks for stopping by. It's definitely a lot more fun to do this when there's interaction in chat. Am I in Zoltan space? I thought it was in NG space. Anyways, I'm happy with scrap. Oh yeah, it is a Zoltan homeworlds, so it does usually kill a character. This is the worst thing about the long delay on this stream, is that I can see everybody's Cassandra moments. Don't push that! And like I've already pushed the button. Have a good one, Nick. I'll see you next time we cast. I should probably work that out with you. I'll send you a Steam message when all this is done. Ah! I knew someone would fall into our dastardly trap. It appears that this distress beacon was nothing but a decoy for a pirate ambush. I guess I can afford to get rid of the hull laser at this point. It's no empty sectors. Honestly, this weapon system isn't that scary, so I think I'll just kind of shoot at everything. Maybe shields would be smarter, but I'll take out the engines. Seriously, you spend all that time training and you still can't hit anything? And start listening to chat on what to do after, or I'll start making... Yeah, I'm definitely... I mean, this is the big thing, is that I really like the feedback from chat, but I've definitely learned that It's not even that it's bad advice, it's that usually it's advice that is different from how I best play things. So I lose a lot, but the enemy ship appears to be powering up its FTL as trying to escape. Oh, please don't kill us, we'll give you everything we have. 19 scrap. Kinda want fuel, but I don't think I'm gonna get fuel for destroying this ship. Will not accept surrender. Oh, nice! No more life signs remaining on the strip. You strip it of useful materials. 1 fuel, 1 drone, 33 scrap. I knew being merciless was the best way. But yeah, so I think there's a couple. So there's 2 kinds of, 2 or 3 kinds of advice that I've run into. When I played Democracy 3, which is something I will put back on. Oh, that's fine. Giant trolls are awesome when it comes to. I mean, as long as it's funny stuff on the stream, I don't necessarily care if I lose the game. I definitely play games worse when I'm streaming, just because your attention is to to other things. But as long as it's fun to watch, I don't particularly care if I do well. A light asteroid is entering the atmosphere of a nearby planet. A fireworks show on a galactic scale. There's little for it but to take in the ambience and program the next jump. It's a really idle sector here. You miss Great Grandpa. I got something about Great Grandpa. Wait, Ender, you were here when we took over Scotland, right? But yeah, so when it comes to the kinds of advice, Democracy 3, when I played that, there was a guy who basically kind of considered me a voice-activated controller. And I definitely can't supply that, and I think it was an equally frustrating experience for the both of us. So I definitely can't do... Yeah, good. Okay, I've got something to. I've got a way that I want to start that. It's one of the reasons I didn't do Crusader Kings 2 off the bat tonight. I don't think I'm gonna get to Crusader Kings 2, but we might do something different. We're blue now, which is no fun. Yeah, we'll see what happens when we create the English Empire. But yeah, the next kind is people who maybe I think most of the advice I get does tend to come from people who know the games better than me. But most of the time I don't just jump into a game without considering, at least the basics of it. So I'll have a strategy in mind. It might even be a suboptimal strategy, but I tend to notice if I mix, like if I just get one piece of advice and then I try to shoehorn it into my own strategies, it usually winds up not working very well. And then there's the stuff where somebody says, like, you're doing something really inefficiently, and and it helps out. But the third kind's really rare. Red team for the win. Yeah. I mean, in fairness, like, the Scottish flag is blue. Like, it is an appropriate color for that country. But we'll take over England, don't worry. Alright, you jump into a debris field that used to be a Zoltan cruiser. Unfortunately, its NG escort takes you for an attacker, and it retaliates. They refuse all hails. So we have got 2 drones that are not a threat at all. I think this is a bomb. Not worried about the beam. Yeah, so this is a piece of cake. I can actually probably afford to use the hull laser in this case. I think I will just take down the weapons just in case. Probably a little premature on the ion blast, but not too worried. I think I'm mildly concerned that the ion blast seems to be a charge weapon, so I do kind of need to get that thing down in fairly good time. Yeah, I'm missing a little bit too much for this. I think what I might try doing next, if I don't start doing some meaningful damage, I'm probably just going to coordinate the attacks. Oh, it sucks. At this point, I'm just going to attack them. Okay, so at least we got the pike beam down. But yeah, that was the reason why I was worried about the... excuse me. That's why I was worried about this charge beam, because now they can actually take out my shields, and the beam will do some pretty substantial damage. I can't believe I had that many misses. Okay, we'll be safe from the beam. If they start charging up their FTL drive, I'm just gonna cry. Okay, so it's shooting the ion beam, that's what's going on. I was wondering why it didn't seem to be hitting. I also need to worry about oxygen in a minute. But I'm the kind of captain that thinks that oxygen is a privilege, not a right. Fleet misses. This would almost be easier if I just directly targeted the shields, actually. I mean, it's going to take a while to charge, so I should be able to survive a couple of beam attacks. I mean, this thing's going to be dead soon anyway, but probably a strategy to remember for next time. And I'm losing my crew because I'm not paying attention. I think they're dead. Oh god, that was almost the run right there. Some pro FTL coming to you live on Twitch. I'm glad Nick wasn't here to see that. Just gonna give this, I think I'll wait till oxygen's at 45 before I move ahead. The last thing, oh actually, I've got some scrap that I can use. Damn. Well, I can go without the ion blast. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think everybody watching that was holding their breath longer than the crew was. Sell everything. So I really need fuel. Let's get that extra bar of power. So I've got my full shields now. I'll need 75, ideally 165 to get the weapon systems to where I want them. And then power for that. So if I'm at 165, I'm probably looking at about 215. I can't remember what the power bars cost, so I don't know if I'll be able to upgrade engines that much for the next sector. Ooh. Well, rebel controlled seems to make a little bit more sense because at least I'll have civilian sector. But I have a feeling there's not going to be a lot of fuel here. Once the Federation forces were scattered, the rebels came down hard on the locals here. Between the tax collectors and military bases, the rebel presence in the sector is high. So see, there's two ways that I can play this, which is one, I can do my usual route, which is to try and get to as many jumps as I can. But in this case, because it's very likely I'm going to run out of fuel, it almost makes sense for me to push as far out as I can just in case the rebel fleet catches up. So it might come back to bite me because then I can't grind the sector, but we'll see. Alright, aid the civilian ship. Hopefully they'll give us some fuel. I probably should have narrated that, but okay. Stealth and a missile, so I think I will go for the... Wow, that thing is armed for bear. Well, that's a good start. The incessant misses that are really screwing me here. Well, that and the fact that apparently he's constantly targeting my weapons bay. Oh, you know what? But I have had the hull laser back for a while, so that was just my bad for not noticing. Again, this is I think the only automated thing that I still can't wrap my head around is that if you had a device that was disabled, I don't quite know why they don't just bring that back online automatically for you. Probably wouldn't be complaining about it if I paid better attention, but I don't, so I am. Looks like we got through it, but I really don't like where my hull is at, because I mean, now I've got two priorities, right? I need to get my fuel up, but I also need to get my hull repaired. I know if I can make it to the final fight, I'll be in a fairly good spot, just because I can get repairs at, you know, at the different stations, but I need to actually get to the final fight. Okay, so I got a missile. Ship breaks apart, you hasten to contact the civilian ship. They respond, "It's a good thing you came when you did. We'd be dead now otherwise. I'm a shipwright and I'd like to help you like you helped me." So it's nice that he offers to install a piece of equipment on my ship. I don't really need it, and I would much prefer fuel. Two power. Okay. Well, there goes nothing. Oh, you arrive to find yourself extremely close to a star. You receive a message from a pirate ship. "I'm glad you arrived. Our ship is damaged and we're getting desperate. I hope you don't mind if we take yours. Hostiles detected aboard the ship." Well, I know I can survive the invasion. It's the lack of fuel that I have a problem with. Probably would have been a good idea to close that door. So this poses an interesting question to me. Is the fact that I am in this sun area, does that basically mean the game is not actually going to allow me to wait? Oh no, it gives me an option to jump right now. So at least wait till that fires out. Let's get the distress beacon on, and we will wait. While waiting for help, you drain what little power you had left to pull a safe distance away from the sun. Well, good for that. Poorly armed slug ship cruises by and offers assistance. Their captain seems to be chuckling to himself, perhaps at the prices he's charging. Pay 15 scrap for 5 fuel, or ignore the offer. Well, honestly, 15 for 5, I think, is what I would be paying. I believe that's what I would be paying at a store anyway. So, I will pay it. I hate the fact that I'm not going to be using this scrap to upgrade my ship, but definitely need to get that health. The eye of a nearby rebel scout immediately identifies you as a threat and engages. A mind-controlling automated scout. Now I've seen everything. Get bursted upon, son. Actually, the hull laser might have been a better idea here just because it's a shorter cooldown. Must be a very depressing existence for that crew member of just going through this eternal cycle of damaging his control room and then repairing it and then damaging it. It's an example of the Keynesian quote that doesn't matter how you get the money into the economy, you could get one group of men to dig ditches and the other group of men to fill them in again. What am I doing? Ion Blast should be going on the shield. Now it will be going on mind control so I don't lose my weapons. And naturally it misses. Okay. So the system's broken, which means I won't be able to take advantage of the Ion Blast. At the very least, we will hopefully take out some weapon systems. Shields. There we go. Not before we get damage to the cockpit, of course, because that's just make the game too easy, really. But we're kind of out of the scary parts. The ship explodes, leaving behind a substantial collection of useful scrap material, 2 desperately needed fuel, 1 drone part, and 35 scrap. So now I need to find a store. I think I can afford to do down, up, up, and then head to the exit. I'll be cutting it a little bit close, but maybe it'll reveal the store as well. You arrive at an infrequently used beacon close to a pulsar. Before long, the rebel ship happens to jump nearby. It looks like you'll have to fight. That missile scares the hell out of me. So we'll do the hull laser, not so much for its damage, just for its shorter cooldown. As much as I hate to do this, I think this is the right call. I mean, again, it'd be nice to have the shorter cooldowns from the crew members, or at the very least somebody to do the dodges, but I sort of need to pick my battles. Now, hopefully that affected them as much as it affected me. Wow! I think that's game. GG! What an absolute troll missile! All crew members have died. Your ship will continue to drift for eternity or until looters destroy it. Score 2160, new high score on the Mac. And I got wrecked. Alright, give me a minute. I'm just gonna figure out something to close off the night with. Oops, that wasn't the intention. I at least wanted to put on the FTL music for you. Just give me a second here. I'll put it up on my iTunes. Oh, come on. I have to have this. Alright, just bear with me a second here. I will take some suggestions for games or something like that. I think I have an idea of what I'd like to play, but I'm not opposed to changing things up if somebody has something they'd really like to see. Go with my heart. Alright. So, I'll admit, I'm a little bit at odds as to whether or not I should start this, because this sort of seems like the thing I should play in continuous bouts. But let's give this a try. Just gonna need to set up my machine for this. Alright, so we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the stream. I actually haven't gotten too far in this one. I have played the full version of the original Shadowrun Returns, which was Dead Man's Switch. Just change up the title. It amazes me that Twitch has not identified this game. So this is interesting. They actually have Shadowrun Hong Kong listed in the games. So what I am actually going to do, just because you guys already heard what my opinions were about Harebrained Schemes and the way that they are building on this franchise and this title. It's an old franchise. I think the original Shadowrun was from the 80s or something like that. But what I would like to do is I will at least give you guys a link to the Kickstarter so you can sort of check out what their plans are for the game. If it seems like the sort of thing that you would enjoy, I do encourage you to consider contributing to the project, because it definitely makes a more fun game for me to play. If it's not your thing, obviously I wouldn't throw money at it for that, but definitely think this is a project that, even though it's a very popular one, deserves as much publicity as it can get. So I'm absolutely happy to give it out there. So it's just taking me a minute to bring up the link, but we'll jump in right after. I know my browser's always a little bit slower when I have a stream going. Alright, so looks like they are at 700,000, which I believe means I get a fancier, yes, revamped Matrix, art and gameplay. Nice. So you will see this in chat before I am saying this, but there's the link to the next game that they're going to be making. It is going to be a standalone expansion, so just a little bit of history again for those of you who weren't here when I covered this before. The original Shadowrun Returns was by the original creator of the tabletop RPG. They decided they wanted to bring it on modern digital platforms. They got 400% of their original budget for the Kickstarter, and so one of their stretch goals was to produce an expansion or some DLC set in a city of the player's choosing. In this case, it was Berlin. The link that I just provided inside chat is the second most popular city, Hong Kong. And effectively what the studios decided to do... So first of all, this DLC was hands down better than the original game, and so they've actually re-released it as a standalone title. Anybody who'd bought the DLC before got it for free, so they are definitely a very player-conscious group, which is why I'm really happy to promote the games that they make. And the owner seems to be, one, a really interesting guy, but two, just definitely seems to be... He knows exactly what a good business practice is that is also fair to the players. I mean, I get free stuff out of it, but that's kind of not where I was going with that. So off the success of Shadowrun Dragonfall, this is called the Director's Cut, so they sort of polished it up for that standalone release. They're effectively doing the same thing with Shadowrun Hong Kong. So $15 will basically contribute to the project and give you access to the title when they release it. And for those of you unfamiliar with the setting of Shadowrun, it's basically a cyberpunk, so the sort of William Gibson, Neil Stephenson thing that you'd, have them... I think Stevenson started writing Snow Crash around late 80s. I think it was published in like 93. I know Gibson was writing around the 80s, but I mean his influences were stuff like William Burroughs, so really his influences go back to the 70s for this. But basically a world where the free market has sort of gotten to a point where corporations are more significant entities than countries. And there's a large event that happened, the Awakening, which brought magical beasts back, dragons, magic, orcs, elves. And so it's this really interesting blend of the fantasy genre and the cyberpunk genre. This game is kind of a tactical strategy game, maybe an RPG. Well, it definitely has the RPG elements inside of it, but I think the majority of it, the style is a little bit more like, let's say, XCOM. But Berlin in this game is actually a really interesting location. And I think I'll just let the plot sort of reveal what's going on inside of it. But just a really interesting setting, reasonably fun mechanics for the game. Gives me a little bit of a chance to do some talking. I know that's kind of one of the things that is an appeal to this site, is games that allow me to do a little bit more talking. So it's something that's turn-based. I don't necessarily need to be constantly responding to impulses, but also gives me some narration to read. So I'll just do the flavor text for Shadowrun Dragonfall: The Director's Cut. The year is 2054. The promise of opportunity and anonymity draws you to the free city of Berlin, the Flux State, a grand experiment in social order. Corporations tread carefully here, and even the great dragon Lofir has only so much sway in this constantly evolving power structure of Berlin. The perfect place for a savvy Shadowrunner to disappear and begin anew, if only it were that simple. Now, as part of this game, there is actually the Steam Workshop, so you can make your own campaigns. I haven't tried any of them. and it'd be really interesting to make one of them. But I actually already have a couple of ideas of game design on my own, so I suspect I will be trying out a couple of things in Unity before I actually do anything in Shadowrun. But the beautiful thing about Shadowrun is it's just such an interesting setting. It's one that really motivates you. You want to tell stories inside of it. So I think maybe once I'm out of school, just sitting down with a pencil and paper, thinking about the kinds of things that I'd like to talk about and how I could adapt those to the cyberpunk genre. Maybe you'll see something by me in the Steam Workshop, but no promises. It's if I do something like that, I want to do it right, and I want to make something that I'd be proud of. So it'd definitely be a long time in coming if I do decide to do that. Anyways, I am going to just go for regular normal difficulty. I have a suspicion based on Dead Man's Switch I could manage hard. And I mean, they do recommend it for turn-based combat veterans looking for a tactical challenge. I mean, you've seen me in FTL, so maybe I shouldn't. That doesn't fit my description. But the one thing I don't really want to be doing is resetting a lot of encounters just because I screw up some kind of a tactic. So I'm just going to do normal. You can make fun of me for going for the easier option. So time for character creation, the most important part. Not a ton of options here, but I think there's some interesting looking characters, and for some reason Dragonfall I always feel it's appropriate to play a woman. So you've got your options for races. I think this time I'm going to be making a Decker, so the computer hacker kind of character. In this case, intelligence is the primary trait, but in this if you look, you've got humans. They will get bonus karma to start the game. Karma is the experience mechanic inside of Shadowrun. Elves get a bonus to charisma. I also have a higher maximum quickness, higher maximum charisma. Dwarves will have a lower quickness but higher body and willpower. Sorry, they also suffer to... Oh, sorry, no, it's standard charisma. So the only... This is, I think, slightly different than the pen and paper. Actually, you know, I played it so long ago, I probably don't remember this well. So no penalties in this case, but they do get bonuses to body, willpower, and strength, so their maximum levels are different. Orcs are pretty much like what you would expect them to be, very strong, but they suffer penalties to charisma and intelligence. And trolls are effectively the same spirit, highest maximum body out of any of the races, but they suffer on quickness, big penalty to charisma, and their maximum intelligence is fairly low as well. So for intelligence-based series, really you can go... I mean, it's entirely possible to do Orc and Troll Deckers. I know if you want to have like an interesting character for, let's say, a pen and paper perspective, playing a hero like that's sort of interesting because it goes against stereotypes, but there isn't necessarily that kind of reward in a computer game just because a lot of the interactions are pre-scripted. So I think in this case I tend to like doing human, especially because of the extra karma that you get. And the different, again, for those of you who are not familiar with Shadowrun and maybe sort of the genre, the Street Samurai tends to be somebody who has augmented themselves with technology, very skilled at combat, and sort of follows a particular code of ethics. The Mage would be sort of what you see in any given, basically any given role-playing game. They're the caster. The other type of caster would be a shaman, two different types of magic. Decker is what I will be going for, which is the hacker role. Sort of a real-life equivalent would be the rigger, who sort of focuses on things like drones and other kinds of technology to assist them. I generally tend not to like controlling other units. Maybe the exception to that would be Dota 2, where some of the heroes that have some micro-components I do enjoy playing, like Meepo or Lone Druid or something like that. But generally on tactical-based games, I'm not really fond of just sending out another drone to do the work. And then there's the physical adept. So, best way I can explain a physical adept would be, think of Bruce Lee. Think of some martial arts master whose body is so trained that it becomes a weapon. So as opposed to the street samurai, which becomes dangerous through their use of technology, the physical adept instead works on improving their personal, like their selves. They don't need to augment themselves through technology. They focus on the mind and on exercise and training to become deadly. So I'll be ignoring all of these, going for a Decker. Actually, you also have a none option where basically you kind of set things however you'd like. And there's not a ton of options here as far as looks, so what looks sort of like a Decker. That's kind of an interesting Decker, but I think she looks a little clean compared to the type of person I think is interesting in Shadowrun. So that's a neat one, but I think a little extreme. This is definitely the sort of stuff that you want to see in Cyberpunk, but I actually think this is not a bad one to go with for the character I had in mind. Spend your karma. Karma represents the experience characters earn while running the shadows and achieving goals. Karma is used to improve attributes and skills. An attribute or skill rating can be increased by spending karma equal to the next increment of that rating. Thus, improving your body from 4 to 5 requires you to spend 5 karma points. You have some karma available now to customize your character. So I get 11 because I'm a human. And because we're going to be going for a Decker, I will add at least 1 point into intelligence. So as they point out here, this would have been the maximum if I'm going for a troll. I don't have 7 karma to get another level in here. So in this case, we'll put another point in decking, just kind of my primary abilities. And I have 1 more as far as stats are I have 1 more karma point to spend, so probably in one of my sub-skills. Dodge is not necessarily a bad one to have because I don't want to be spending a lot of time in combat, but a lot of the interactions are not actually going to be in the Matrix, so I'm going to put 1 point into ranged combat just so I'm not completely useless in a firefight. At least from the experience of Dead Man's Switch, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff to do inside of the Matrix, so I am actually going to need to be effective in a physical fight. So etiquette is knowing how to behave in various social situations. The right etiquette can give you an edge in certain conversations. Choose an etiquette from the list below. Choosing an etiquette does not cost karma, and each etiquette can only be chosen once. So I didn't really talk a whole lot about what I have in mind for this character here, just because I like to have that as a guiding light in terms of the decisions that I make. Definitely the appearance that I chose could lend themselves to an academic turned runner. I don't quite see this individual as a gang member. Socialite would be kind of interesting, the rebellious daughter who decides to express the rebellion through computers. But not entirely. I don't think that's entirely right. Corporate would be kind of interesting, actually, but I think I'll just go for Shadowrunner here. It's basically Shadowrunner for life. Oh god, I'm really bad at names. Anybody want to recommend a name? I think I've got 2 that I can use, but I'll give chance. If you have any names that you'd like to say, just feel to throw that out there. If you have somebody who you don't want, how about Chalk? Maybe if I was playing a dude. There's an interesting study that people did, which was to look at the type of gamers and people who would make heroes that are very similar to themselves, and the kind of people who like throwing themselves into like totally different roles. I don't have a preference one way or the other. I think some games I will try and make somebody who's a little bit more of a reflection of myself, but I also, depending on what the game is, I also like to do things a little bit different. Okay. Just so we can get on with the game. Minerva. For those of you checking the Wikipedia, Athena is the Greek name for this goddess, usually also called Pallas. Goddess of wisdom. Athens is named in her honor. Other things she'd be associated with would be inspiration, law, which is a little bit... I mean, this is one of the reasons why I chose that name, because there's some ironies inside of it as a justice bringer or a lawgiver. There's a bit of an inversion of that, but also known for mathematics, strategy, the arts, generally associated with the sort of things that you'd think under techne in the in the Greek word, so seemed to be appropriate. McGonagall? It's too late now, I already picked it. Alright, the Harfield Manor run. Life was good. Easy jobs, regular pay, a reliable crew. But things went south and you had to drop off the grid. Put a bullet in the past and start fresh somewhere new. The promise of opportunity and anonymity draws you to the free city of Berlin, the Flux State. A grand experiment in social order. Corporations tread carefully here. Even the great dragon Lofweir only has so much sway in the constantly evolving power structure of Berlin. The perfect place for a savvy Shadowrunner to disappear and begin anew. As luck would have it, your old partner in crime, as luck would have it, home to your old partner in crime, Monica Schaefer. It's your third run with Monica and her team, an old castle holdfast, 1 hour east of Berlin, perched on a hill overlooking the countryside. The job is a standard smash and grab, crack the vault, grab the data, get out in one piece. A mediocre payday, but work is work. As a team gathers for Monica's pre-run briefing, you pause to take in the surroundings. Minerva McGonagall was never... Oh, right. I have not read the Harry Potter books. Sorry. But I think I know who you're referring to. Okay, Hartfield Manor, whatever date it is. I think it's like 2054 or something like that. The estate grounds are silent, save for the faint whistling of the wind. Your team gathers at the side entrance of the old castle holdfast, cloaked in darkness. The night is peaceful. You know it won't last. You know it for what it is, a pleasant illusion that will shatter at the sound of the first gunshot. Monica. Listen up, folks. Monica Schaefer. You ran with her back in the day. Now she's your team leader. Your decking skills may be sharp, but hers are Nova hot. Running with Monica is like taking a master class in ice breaking. IC standing for intrusion countermeasures. We're on a tight timetable. I want to enter the estate, find the basement, open the data vault, extract the files, and bolt. 10 minutes top to bottom. Dietrich. Trying to get home in time for worm talk, love. Dietrich, shaman, the old man of the team. He smiles at her, his facial tattoos writhing in the moonlight. Monica's eyes twinkle with mischief. Maybe? How many times have I told you, you can't trust anything that comes out of a dragon's mouth. That trid trash will rot your brain. She grins. It's educational. Besides, this should be a milk run. Security is supposed to be light. A few automatic weapons, no armor. With a little luck, they'll never know we're here. Works for me, let's get paid. Monica's smile returns, more wistful this time. The moonlight catches her face at a strange angle. Just like old times, eh, Minerva? Glory. I won't argue with a sentiment. I'd prefer that we exercise caution. Glory. Razor-clawed street samurais. Her voice is cold and neutral, her expression placid. I should probably remember that if I read any of her lines. Look at those tats, yeah. They may only be private security, but their bullets don't know that. I can patch you up if I have to, but I'd rather not have to. You people need to relax. We're professionals, remember? Monica raises her arm and speaks into her wrist-mounted comlink. A darkened face shimmers on the view screen. Iger, are you in position? The comlink crackles, and the response comes back low and soft, softer than you'd expect from a troll. Affirmative. The alarm lines have been cut, and I have a clear line of fire to the estate service entrance. When you exit the building, the path will be clear. Excellent. Thank you, Iger. Just doing my job. Iger out. The comlink goes dark. Monica winks at you as she drops her arm. See? We're professionals. Alright people, enough chatter. Our client wants the data from the vault, so we get him the data from the vault. Quick, quiet, and quick. You said quick tight. You said quick twice. She grins. Worm talk is on tonight. Glory raises an eyebrow, slightly. I told you. It's educational. Get your stuff and we'll head in. So, just pick up your items. This is, in this case, I'll grab a weapon. I sort of get my pick here. I haven't really found one that is best. I tend to go not necessarily... This is the problem when I play this game, is that I do tend to do character-based stuff rather than necessarily good strategic choices. The pistol does not do a lot of damage, but it does also seem to be the weapon... Well, okay, you know what? There's nothing saying that a Decker actually needs to be a pistol holder. I need to check that assumption. Let's actually do an SMG this time, because it is, I mean, it's roughly the same size. So yeah, I don't know, I like this idea of somebody who's spray and pray and then jump into a computer system. Grab the rest of your kit. So it's it basically just gives you items that are based on your character class. So you grab your running gear from a worn duffel bag near the weaponry. Leave the van. And I know from the Dota 2 casting experience, I know edge panning is not always the most appealing, and it actually, in this case, it sort of screws up my double window setup that I have here. But there's no other options, so we'll enter the manor. So new objectives: keep team alive, get to the lower floor, and we've passed enter the building. A private museum. The owner of this estate must have money to burn. A complete skeleton of a theropod dinosaur. It appears to be genuine. Variety of remarkably well-preserved Slavic artifacts. The vase in the case looks both very old and very valuable. A fine skull work of lapis and gold leaf decorates its exterior, and the interior shimmers with an organic beauty of an abalone shell. Your fixer could probably move this thing in a heartbeat. You can't help but notice that the glass encasing looks awfully flimsy. I can smash the glass, or I can walk away. In this case, I don't want to screw up the run. The cask in this display case is decorated with inlaid panels of ivory scrimshaw. Intel says that the elevator should be to the north. Yeah, that's locked. No, it says it's to the north, but I kind of want to explore the... Oops. And we found somebody. Okay, so turn-based combat is just a tutorial, but I kind of already know what I'm doing for that, so... A little bit like XCOM, cover matters. In this case, I'm sort of hoping that four of us rushing this individual will be enough to take her out. So Glory's the street samurai, probably does the most damage. Is she close? Yep. And Dietrich's the shaman. I think I'll just put him behind some... He doesn't need to be in this room, like there's nothing else going on here, so... I think I'll just end the turn. Intruder's at my position. Okay, well I'll get her to take care of the terminal. Secured alert response plan, Quebec 6, Matrix operations locked, HTR team responding. I can use my decking skill to override Matrix operations. I believe I would have had that even if I didn't put the extra point inside of it, but that's why I put stuff into decking, is because the games... In Dead Man's Switch, there was definitely stuff you couldn't access if you didn't have certain skills. Even different like the etiquettes matter as well, so it's not just flavor that that stuff is for. Alright, Matrix operations unlocked. And what do I do with her? I think I'm going to keep her in position for now. And we'll get Monica to... Okay, so Monica is not actually in any position to really do anything, so... Just get her to take some cover. I'll get Glory into position. I can't really push her too far ahead, so I'll just get her behind the desk. And I guess I do the same with Minerva. No, I can't really do because she won't be in any cover, so in this case we'll just put her around the corner. Let's get some haste. Oh, I didn't know that that was going to be for this turn. Okay, that's fine. We'll make the most of it. I'll move her here. range yet. Absolutely no chance of hitting them, so I'll just move her to the next bit of cover. Monica has haste. And this guy is in the open, so I think in this case we just use an automatic shot. She only has one more action point. I don't think Dietrich can speed her up again, so I think in this case the better call... She is behind full cover, so in this case we're just gonna fire off. Yeah, so no damage, which is a minor shame, but will live. So I'll move Dietrich up one just so I can clear space for Glory. I don't expect a whole lot to happen out of this. Just thrown out. Yeah, nothing happened. So move Glory into position. Yeah, just cover's a little too strong. Okay, so I don't necessarily want my main character running into a shotgun. Move her around the edge. This guy is impossible to hit. Okay, well, there's some progress. Her blade attack was really strong. Oh, it's 7 damage, so she's basically gonna be in melee range of a shotgun. Probably not the thing that I want to put my Street Samurai through. Yeah, why not? We'll give her some aim. You can throw another knife. And she'll have a better shot. There we go. So a bit of damage there, but of course the nice thing about the mage is that you can just use it to heal it up. He's in a slightly better position to throw the knife again. She'll get killing rates. So you'll notice quite similar to XCOM as far as the combat works. You want to make sure that people sort of intelligently move between cover, and your team usually misses. Select a Decker to jack in. Oh. I'll play me. So, I'm 50-50 about how they've done the Matrix in this. I mean, I was talking about how much I liked it in the emulated... I mean, I always say the emulated version of the Genesis game. I'm assuming it is the same as the Genesis game. But you notice here, it's really just a different set of textures to what sort of seems to be like a regular combat environment. I don't actually have any icebreakers. Like, basically I'm just going to punch this thing. So in this case here, it's a bit of a shame just because the Matrix has always been such a big thing, and it's always, like, it's captured the imagination of just about anybody who's ever read anything cyberpunk related. So it'd be kind of interesting if they found a slightly more original way of doing it. And it's not to say that I think the Matrix has been poorly rendered. Like, I think this is a pretty effective way of handling it. Just, it is very similar to the combat in the game. And I think one of the things that I liked about some of this game's predecessors was how they had found sort of an original way of doing the Matrix and making that a unique experience on its own. So hopefully now that the Kickstarter's got its $700,000 stretch goal, we'll maybe see, and basically we'll see maybe Harebrained Schemes has a budget to do something that maybe they had in mind but wouldn't have been able to implement on their own. Anyways, so we've got pay data, Antiquities delivery schedule. I suspect that is, because it wasn't north, I'm suspecting that is not the thing that we actually went on the run for. But maybe it gets us money. I don't know. We'll find out. Alright, and now we had the direction that we were supposed to go in the first place. But now with less security. Oh, spoke too soon. So the kind of green shimmering is a spirit, so I'll be able to take advantage of my shaman to use that. This is probably a dumb idea, but I sort of want to clear these pillars. I figure a 9% chance of hit is not really worth it. I guess they're not pillars, they're statues, but 32 is... I mean, it's kind of a waste of ammo, but not... Oh, I can do an aim shot. Again, it's still a pretty remote chance, but at least it's better than 9. Like, a single digit really isn't worth the effort. This at least has some mildly credible chance of hitting. I don't know where the shaman went, though. So she's a little too far back to do anything. But I can probably use haste on her. That is, if he was in range. How do I get out of this? Ah, I didn't want to do that. Oh well. Probably should have seen that coming, actually. So, whatever. You'll stand in the open because I don't like you. Yeah, so apparently not a brilliant place for me to put my main character. We'll see what we can make out of this, though. Still not a lot of good places to shoot. The Apprentice. Have I played this game before? Or is this a blind run? A blind run of Dragonfall, but I have played Dead Man's Switch. Really enjoyed it. It's only 50% chance of hit, so... let's just summon the spirit. Ah, there we go. My problems are solved. This guy kind of seems... okay, actually he's the one that's in range, so it's just even. So it sucks that he's just standing out in the open like that, but... okay, I should probably be going for the better opportunity. Kind of like where Monica is, but can't hit the broadside of the barn. We'll see if Glory can fit. Oh, can Glory use her blade attack? You played it, but didn't do much with the spirit summoning. Yeah, spirit summoning is just something I remembered from Dead Man's Switch. It seemed to be reasonably effective, but if you try to get it to do too much, then the spirit will actually turn on you. Well, that's what I get for doing melee. Let's move her up to take out the mage. Still doesn't have a good shot on the mage, actually, so we'll do the security guard, and I'll just have to pay the consequences of being in a bad spot. I didn't know that was 2 moves. That was really stupid of me. Okay, I gotta get her into cover, but what's the best? I think this is probably the best one. Can't heal anybody. I could use the totem, but I kind of have to stand in the middle to do that. The enemies aren't really clustered. What do I do? I really don't want to have my own guys clustered like last time. I think the... okay, so get into some cover. I could try an aim throw. Actually, 60% chance isn't bad. I was thinking maybe just granting aim to somebody, but I'll be able to do that later anyway, so... again, this is fairly dangerous. I mean, a 9% chance I'm comfortable with, but the idea here is just to give it the extra action points and just try and get as much as I can done with this combat as I can, so... in this case, I do get the full 4. Spit some acid. Oh, I missed. Alright, well, just devour him then. And apparently they're just ignoring the huge demon that's coming to devour their friends, and they really want to kill these runners. Wow. Mark target. Oh. Just spray and pray. You're kidding me. Dietrich should have haste now, so we'll give her an extra move. Jesus Christ. Alright. This is definitely worth taking an aim shot for. So that's a 22% chance of this thing escaping, and I'm not in the best... Okay, well, okay, so my options here are 18 or 22, so let's go for broke. And I just screwed myself. So it'd be really nice to use the 2 actions on this pair. Oh no, I only have 1 action. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to take out the Grenadier. We'll do an aimed shot, hopefully to end him. Good. And then I can use Glory to mop up the mage. Nope, completely unnecessary. Alright, we'll show what a badass a Street Summer is. What difficulty am I playing? I'm just playing on normal difficulty. I have a suspicion I could probably play this game on hard without too much trouble, but the thing that I really don't like doing is just resetting the game over and over again on a stream. So I tend to play things a little bit easier than what I normally do. Mostly because I think it'd be really boring if you guys watch me struggle on the same thing over and over again. I am told that hard is apparently meaningfully difficult, so I would kind of like to give this a try. But yes, I mean, I'm spending a lot of time explaining strategy, but I don't know how trivial normal's supposed to be. You're about to transition to a new location. Continue. Yeah. But yeah, so there's definitely no, because it's a blind playthrough, there's definitely no sophistication behind anything that I'm talking about. Alright, Hartfield Manor Run. So far, so good. If your skirmish with the security set off any alarms, you didn't hear them. Monica leads the rest of the team downward into the basement of Hartfield Manor. Your payday is waiting, the data vault lies ahead. Dietrich eyes the door, then turns to Monica. It's a brig-feeking vault, Liebken. Bigger than on the schematic. The schematic didn't have a date. Our client may have old intel. Still, our instructions were clear. The data we're looking for should be just on the other side of this door. Monica combs a hand through her hair, parting it to reveal the black plastic sheath of her data jack. Quick John into the matrix, little digital hand waving, and I'll have this thing wide open. Be right back. A burst of static crackles through the tiny speaker on Monica's comm link. Iger, still in position outside the estate. Hold on a minute, who's in charge while you're jacked in? Monica rolls her eyes. Dietrich fixes his stare intently on the vault door. Glory looks cold and distant, just as she always does. We've been through this before, Iger. You're not in the KSK anymore, and that chain of command nonsense doesn't fly in the shadows. We don't need rules and regulations to guide us. The same principles apply to the fuck state. Please, spare me the lecture. Your politics have nothing to do with this. Best get used to it, Iger love. She sighs. Look, it's a simple question. Years of experience tell me that it needs an answer. Okay, Okay, so basically I can agree, can take sides, or... Yeah, well, I like decking, so why don't I take a crack at the door instead? Let me show you what I can do. Monica smiles but shakes her head no. No offense, Minerva, but this is my team, and at least for now, I handle the grid work. Then you need a second in command. Come on, Monica, put someone in charge, and let's get on with the mission. Guess I made her sound a little whinier than a military person would. Anyways, Monica stares at the screen on her wrist for a moment, clearly irritated. Then that twinkle appears in her eye again. She smiles at you as she speaks into her comlink. Very well, we'll do this one Iger's way. While I'm jacked in, Minerva is in charge. There is a pause, then Iger's voice crackles out of the comlink again. Minerva? Did I hear you right? You're putting the rookie in command? I thought you were a pro, Iger. Questioning orders in front of the team isn't exactly a pro move, is it? This is ridiculous. Clear the comm, rookie. Now! Monica looks at you. The smile has disappeared from her face. Listen, Monica. I know that this is a joke to you, but I'm telling you... Iger? Monica's tone is all business. Evidently, she's heard enough. The decision's made. You have your answer. Acknowledged. Without another word, Iger's image flickers and fades from Monica's communicator. Sorry about that. Iger can be inflexible. Legacy of a long military career. But she knows what she's doing, and she means well. So it's a legitimate concern. She hardly knows me. Monica's eyes narrow. There's a thin line between concern and insubordination. You let me know if she crosses it. Okay, enough chatter. Let's get this done. Monica turns towards the door, fingers poised on the controls of her cyber deck, then glances back at you with a grin. See you on the other side. Then she punches it, projecting her consciousness into cyberspace, her fingers harmonizing in the smooth rhythmic staccato that only an expert decker can achieve. She's a pro. Without warning, Monica's back arcs violently and her head jerks back, silencing her terrible screams. Muscle spasms ripple through her face and her jaw snaps shut, sending a mist of blood spraying from between her teeth. You look down to see a nub of pink flesh hit the floor, the tip of her tongue. The room explodes into action. Glory leaps towards Monica, her hand outstretched to yank the cord from her data jack. Dietrich surges forward to wrap the team's fallen decker in a bear hug, holding her against the convulsions that rack her body. With Monica's unearthly scream still ringing sharply in your head, you are only dimly aware of the door slamming shut behind you. I can help Glory pull the plug on Monica's data jack, smash Monica's cyber deck, help Dietrich hold Monica down. See, now I always thought again, I don't have the tabletop books with me, but I always thought that pulling somebody out of the Matrix, like just pulling the plug, would do damage to them, but I don't think smashing the deck's the way to go on this, so... help pull Glory. Yeah, I'll pull the plug. While Glory holds Monica's head steadily, you snatch the cord that connects Monica's data jack to her cyber deck. Without a moment's hesitation, you give a solid yank and the cord comes free. A wisp of oily blue smoke traces its way from her data jack to the ceiling. The commingled scents of charred meat and ozone fill the air. You've seen the effects of biofeedback before, but nothing like this. Suddenly, Monica's eyes flutter open. Muscle tremors continue to distort her face, and blood oozes from between her lips. You see the muscles in her jaw tensing and the look of concentration in her eyes. She's struggling to speak. So this is another example of, in this case I was able to do the decking stuff here, but because I didn't put any points into biotech, I can't actually see what's happened to her. So in this case, just stay with us, Monica, okay? We're going to get you out of here. Save your breath. Glory's voice is strained. She's had a stroke, a bad one. She'll be dead before we're even back to the van. Talk to me, Monica. What are you trying to say? Slowly, painfully, Monica wrestles her jaw open. The blood welled up in her mouth comes pouring out of a slit, covering her chest. She expels a thick, guttural sound that might be a word. She closes her eyes and forces her mouth to make the shapes she needs. Fear. With an effort, Monica opens her eyes again and meets yours. You see pain and fear in her gaze, and something else. Hope? Verschwing. A sudden spasm jerks Monica's head back again. She grunts. Then her chin drops to her chest, and her head lolls to one side. Her eyes fix on an object in the next room, a computer terminal. The soft light of a cursor blinks in its recessed screen. Slowly, she attempts to speak again, but the only sound that emerges is a long, strangled croak. A look of resignation washes over Monica's face, and she stops fighting. Her gore-slick jaw goes slack, and she dies. New objective, keep the team alive. Monica, no, this is... Okay, can't read this. We've got hostiles. Clearly this isn't a data vault. We need to get out of here fast. Not in a really great position to fight. But. And the one thing is I never actually realized how much damage the hand razors do. But I'm not entirely sure I want to jump. Well, no, let's go for it. You only YOLO once. She turned into a frog. That sucks that that's 2 movement points. I'll move him up and see what... Okay, so no chance of catching that. Oh, and I can't haste somebody either. Can't heal... Okay, so... Let's give her some aim so she can at least do some meaningful damage to this guy. Oh wait, did we kill this guy? Nice. I need to play Street Samurais more often. This is actually an incredibly strong character. I think I can afford an aimed throw here. And he still misses. Of course they damaged my main character. I can't use that terminal? Okay. Well, we'll just get Glory to do what she does best. Seriously? This really is like XCOM, 86% misses. Okay, now I can use the terminal. MCPOS Building Maintenance Software version 1.01. Command line interface. Internal memory checksum invalid. Minerva, 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 Minerva. Dietrich scans the room nervously. They've sealed the door behind us. We've got to find another way out of here. What are you doing? I think Monica may have inserted a bug into the system before she died. What's it for? Something tells me we're going to have more company soon. Stay frosty, Dietrich. Just give me a minute. Text continues to scroll down from the terminal screen. Problem has been detected with core component of MCPOS. Restore MCPOS to factory default settings, yes or no. Warning, restore process will take several minutes to execute. Connected doors and peripherals will be disarmed when complete. Hit the Y key. Processing request, 0% complete. As you watch, the number on the screen slowly begins to climb. This is going to take a while. You glance down at the second screen to see the facility is on high alert. In place of a simple data vault, it seems that you've stumbled upon a kind of massive underground complex. A map of the Holdfast grounds indicates that security forces are en route from multiple angles. The door is currently being rebooted, and the system restore process is flashing a dull red. If you're reading this display correctly, the only exit from this room is the Holdfast Old Service entrance on the western side of the building. At that moment, Iger's image winks onto your comlink with a crackling sound. The image is graining, flickering in and out. What's going on down there, rookie? Talk to me. Iger, new extraction point. Hold up, where's Monica? Down will be exiting via an old servant's entrance to the west of the main grounds. I need you to keep the exit clear. Iger's silence is thick, but when she finally responds, her tone is professional. Roger that. She cuts out without another word. Glory turns to face you, her movements smooth and robotic. Her voice comes out in a frosty monotone. What's the play, Escape rope will be open in a minute. We hold tight until then. By hold tight, you mean sit here and fry anyone who comes to the door, don't you? No, I mean stay sharp, stay calm, and stay alive. For a second, Dietrich's pained expression twists into a mask of hatred, but he regains his composure. Yeah, don't worry. I've got your back. Good. Now let's find some cover and wait for the door locks to disarm. Ideally, I find full cover for all of these guys, but... Oh, and there's another spirit, so... Move on up ahead. He's also got full health, so he can... I don't necessarily think tanking with a shaman is the best path to victory, but... kind of want to keep my main character back a little bit because she's taken the most punishment. And probably a good time to reload. See, Gloria's pistol doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but... Oh, you know what? She's perfect for a haste. Oh, I keep forgetting you need to use it on the same turn. Okay, well, I just wasted a haste. Absolutely no chance of hitting that. And I don't want to get hit with a grenade, so I think in this case I'll just have to accept that that was a bad call. So it would be amazing to just run in and use the blades on both of these guys, but I don't... 3 movement to accomplish that. It's not happening, so just use an aim and completely miss the droid. Attaboy, Street Samurai. Attagirl. I kind of want to keep the spirit in my pocket, because if it's going to be 8 turns, I have a feeling that it's probably not just 2 enemies I'm going to be dealing with. I guess I can move him. You know what, there's probably going to be stuff that comes from this area, actually, but whatever, I'll deal with it. Right on cue. At least they're not firing. So maybe this is the time to go for a spirit. Probably won't give it 4 action. Good God, what was that? And her aim is... I should have given the aim to her, actually, so let's see if we can get... Okay, so the security captain is a badass. So this will only take 1 move, but I suspect I'm not actually going to be able to give the aim to... Yeah, okay. No! I didn't want you to give it to yourself. Let's take out the drone at least. I'm sure that would have looked amazing in the real world. Firing off 3 shots in quick succession and destroying the bot. So I don't have a whole lot I can do here, but I'm at least going to get behind cover there, because I have a feeling that this guy is going to wreck my day. Well, he's going to go for the mage first, but... I keep saying mage, he's actually a shaman, there's a difference. I am terrible for positioning. Alright, what am I going to do about this? Okay, so... Dietrich can move here. Yeah, we'll do Spirit. Wind Dancer. So 8 damage from a wind blast. Lightning bolt does damage and minus... I think that's action point. And ongoing minus 10 HP. Sounds like a really good one to use on this guy, actually, but let's just start with a regular Wind Blast, because that's a near certain hit. I was kind of banking on being able to kill this guy. Alright, do your thing, Glory. Oh, that would have been amazing if she could have hit that. Let's put her behind this console because we still have these chuckleheads to deal with. I think it's just shooting is the way to handle this. So it's nice that this guy seems isolated from the rest of his team, so in this case I'll just, well, try to make something happen and fail to do so, Giving some aim to the SMG holder is not a bad idea. So that minus 10 HP... not quite in range. I have no idea what this button does, but I should probably know better than to just experiment with stuff right now. So I don't mind this thing being in the open, actually. If it can draw some fire, that would be ideal. So the minus 10 HP on this guy. Of course it misses. Okay, well, we'll do the lightning bolt then. So the challenge here is I put my Street Samurai on this guy. The chain gun is gonna... Let's just go for another 4. So hit him with the electricity. And I think what I'm going to do, especially because I've been really reckless with how I've used the spirit, I'm just going to basically put him right up on the... Oh, wow. Okay. I've at least put him in range to try and distract. But apparently he's not going to do any damage. Not the ideal time for reloading, but... Okay, this is gonna suck, but I think getting this guy down is the higher priority. So just hopefully it doesn't take too long. Hit the button? What button? Oh, the random button. I'll maybe do that when people are cleared out. Wait a minute, was this... Oh yeah, no, I remember where that guy came from. Haste would be really good right now, but don't have it, so... This is actually pretty good cover. The only problem with it is I don't have a lot of opportunities to attack. So this is the drawback of choosing the SMG, I guess. Well, I'll go for it. It's slightly less... Oh, okay, that paid off. I don't see any point in wasting ammo like that, so let's just reload. I really shouldn't be doing this, but yeah. Oh well. Well, at least it's paying off the way I wanted it to. Even when the spirit turns on me, it does what I want it to do. And he still keeps missing. Alright, well it said that it was the western exit. Well, and it's got a big sign exit, so I think as long as I can find some cover for these folks, I will just get them into a decent position, even that if that means I can't fight with them. This might be a good time to use the Dragon Slayer idol, actually. It's basically just damage reduction, which is kind of what I want at this point. Yeah, so I'm assuming that this is a character that you can't actually kill, given the fact that, well, I mean, maybe the spirit just doesn't do a lot of damage. But, I mean, I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to, pretty much any attack that's been thrown at him has been blocked, so just needed to spend the one turn, and I now have my escape goal, so. And I've lost my cover, so let's get the hell out of here. Please don't have a grenade. How do I want to handle this? Oh, if I can get out in two with her, I can get out in two with everybody. Iger rises from her corpse-strewn perch at your approach. From the look on her face, it's obvious that she's already sized up the situation. I knew this was going to happen. I fucking knew it. Well, I'm kind of repeating myself to say Monica didn't make it. Yeah, we can talk about this later. For now, we need to bug out. Tell me something I don't know. Iger slaps the side of the van. Pile in, people. And Minerva, when we get back to the Kreuzitz bar, we're going to have a little talk. Oh, sorry, Kreutz Bazaar. I don't know German. I apologize. The Kreutz Bazaar. Kreutzberg. Home to nearly 500,000 people, and until very recently, Monica Schaefer. Once a melting pot of cultural diversity, it's now a chaotic mess of wealth and poverty, crime and commerce, anarchy and control. It's also your home in this little. It's also home to your own little slice of Berlin, a neighborhood that the locals call the Kreutz Bazaar, a safe port in the eye of the storm. The ride back to the Kreutz Bazaar is quiet. Nobody is in a talking mood. As the van veers past potholes and garbage piles, the glare of streetlights and neon signs plays across your windows, painting the world in a kaleidoscope of garish colors. Soon the van rounds a corner and skids to a halt in a narrow, crumbling alley. This is as far as Berlin's chaotic streets will take you. Your team wordlessly debarks the vehicle and climbs down into a disused section of the U-Bahn tunnel system, a well-kept secret, providing your team safe passage to the Kreutz Bazaar. Your safe house waits on the other side. Let's get inside. Can't happen fast enough, love. The sooner we get in, the sooner I can get drunk. You step inside, and the squalor of the disused U-Bahn tunnel gives way to the warmth of your safe house. A man waits inside, silhouetted against the dim fluorescent lighting. Paul Amsel. Something bad has happened, hasn't it? He steps forwards, revealing a pale, expressionless face, light glinting off the steel-rimmed glasses. Paul Amsel, your team's fixer and landlord. Part deal-maker, part information broker. One of the most well-connected men in Berlin. His eyes sweep across the team as he takes it all in. The grim faces, the hard stares, Iger's fury, Monica's absence. I had a feeling. How did she... His face has grown ashen. He swallows. Takes a moment to chew out the words before spitting them out. How did it happen? I almost instinctively go for anything related to skills, but let's just take a quick look at the... Yeah. Something in the vault security system cooked her brain. It was too quick to be black ice. Glory nods, her motions robotic and spare. Monica died of a biofeedback-induced stroke. That's right. Iger thrusts a gloved finger into your chest. And this idiot stood by and let it happen. Yeah, brush your finger aside. That's bullshit, Iger. You weren't even in the room. No, I wasn't there, and that's exactly the problem. If I'd have been in your place, Monica would still be alive and with us. Instead, I left her with you, and now my friend is a corpse in a basement. Look, Iger, Minerva's right. You weren't stuck in that basement with us. You don't know the things that went down there. So do us all a favor and shut it down, okay? Shut it down? Fuck that! Iger turns to face Dietrich. She towers over him, but he stands his ground. I respect you, Dietrich. You know that. But you don't have my training. None of you have! Monica was good. She was the best, right? But she was also overconfident. She treated the job like it was a game. Do that long enough and you're gonna get burned. Iger turns to focus on you. If you'd been paying attention, you'd have figured all this out on your own by now. You'd have known that Monica needed watching as much as that door. Enough, Iger. Amsel's voice is hoarse, his expression blank. Enough. Iger pushes ahead, heedless of the interruption. Her voice remains measured, but there's a fire in her eyes. How many seconds passed between Monica's first convulsion and her plug getting pulled? 4? 5? Do you know how much damage biofeedback can do to a Decker's brain in 5 seconds? At least try something of a pass around. Look, this won't... You don't have to answer that. Of course you know. Monica died while you stood there and watched. This is all your That is enough! Amsel's voice comes out in a roar, and his fist smashes down on the desk behind him. Iger, you and Minerva can have it out later, but I've had enough. We need to talk about action. Our client sent you into something much bigger than he led us to believe. I want to know why. Right there with you. This was supposed to be a milk run. Payback isn't the only reason we need to find him. We saw something back there. Something we weren't supposed to see. It's fair to assume that we're all still in danger. He pauses, rubs his temples. Agreed, and to neutralize that danger we need to know who we are dealing with. Let us review the events that transpired tonight. The smallest detail could be important, so hold nothing back. We'll probably just start with what Monica said. So, Monica lived long enough to say a name, Fairschwing. She fought hard to tell us. It must have been important. Amsel seems taken aback. He pauses for a moment before responding. The Firewing. This is unexpected. You'll have to forgive me. This brings back many unpleasant memories. Glory raises an eyebrow. The Firewing? The most terrible of the great dragons. There are those who would disagree, but they never experience the terror of living in her shadow. He glances at Glory. You're far too younger to remember her, of course. But for Germans of my generation, the name Fairschwing is synonymous with chaos, destruction, and death. The dragons of today are subtle creatures, full of patience and guile. Fairschwing was not. After her awakening, she went on a 4-month rampage and claimed tens and thousands of lives. Amsel takes a deep breath, slowly releases it. There's a haunted look in his eyes. Those were dark days. Countless men, women, and children were slaughtered, roasted alive in their homes by a creature of legend. No hope for salvation and no end in sight. It was a horror that you cannot begin to understand. What stopped her? I can't imagine a rampaging dragon would just go away on its own. Eventually the Firewing was brought down by a man named Dr. Adrian Volker. Well, with the help of the Luftwaffe, of course. It was an experimental weapons designed by Dr. Volker that finally pierced her hide. She fell in a hail of bullets and rocket fire and crashed somewhere in the radioactive wasteland of the SOX. The event was called the Dragonfall. Safe at last from the dragon's wrath, Germany celebrated Volker as a hero. Our own Siegfried, a modern-day dragon slayer. My own family practically worshipped the man. If the Dragonfall was as important of an event as you make it out to be, I'm surprised that I've never heard of it. Those early days of the Awakening were traumatic, Iger. Not just on a national level, but on a global scale. New species of awakened animals were being discovered daily. Within 2 years of the Dragonfall, the active use of magic had returned to the world, a new source of terror for a bewildered public. And in 2021, the sudden emergence of orcs and trolls gave rise to yet another wave of global panic. In light of such turmoil, is it any surprise that Dr. Volker and the Firewing were forgotten? Dragons were yesterday's news. He rubs his temples. Again, all of this happened decades ago. To the best of my knowledge, the story of the Verschwing is a bit of historical trivia and nothing more. Alright, so Monica spent her dying breath trying to tell us about a long-dead dragon. Iger sweeps her eyes across the group, searching for a glimmer of insight. Finally, she gives up. Any ideas as to why? Amsel's voice trembles with frustration. No. It doesn't make any more sense to me than it does to you. The Dragonfall is ancient history. Verschwing has been dead and gone for 42 years. But there's one thing I do know. Whatever Monica saw, whatever she was trying to tell us, it was important. He visibly struggles to calm himself, takes a deep breath and slowly releases it. I will look into this, and I will find answers. In the meantime, did you turn up anything else of value? The estate was just a front for whatever was going on in the basement. Amstel nods. That much is clear. It wasn't a minor enterprise either. That facility took serious funds to build. And time. There was more to it than we saw. Places like that don't spring up overnight. And all in secret. The owners, whoever they may be, were none too pleased by your escape, I'm sure. What else did you find? After everything went to hell, we were confronted by an orc in military-grade armor. He appeared to be the head of security. That's not much to go on. Do any details about this orc come to mind? Any distinguishing features that I could look into? He was an older guy, for one. From the sound of his voice, I'm guessing mid to... He didn't talk to us. Anyway, okay, I'm assuming he's shouting during combat or something like that. From the sound of his voice, I'm guessing mid to late 40s. Pretty old for an orc. And he'd had skin grafts. Most of his face looked like replacement material. If the grafts came from a legitimate hospital, there may be medical records. That is something. I'll see what I can find out. Did you note anything else during that run that may be of value? That's all we've got. That's not much. Amstel nods, his face drawn and haggard. It is thin, I agree. A basement, a middle-aged orc with skin grafts, and a long-forgotten world event. You haven't said a thing about our client yet, Paul. You holding out on us? Amstel shakes his severely. No, Minerva, I am not holding out. I am tired and I am frustrated, and I already miss Monica. He takes a moment. I did not think to mention our employer because I did not set up the job. Monica did. His face reddens. I warned her. I told her not to take this run. But she assured me it would be a cakewalk. Monica was approached recently by a man who calls himself Green Winters. He used to be a prominent activist in the F-State political scene. I never much liked the man, and I certainly never trusted him. But Monica, she would do anything for her cause. Anything for the Fluxate. He sighs. Winters swore that Winters swore that the data he was after was crucial to ensuring the future stability of the Flux. And that was all it took. It sounds like Green Winters is our best lead, then. Yes, most definitely. It is clear that Green Winters has involved us in something much larger than he led Monica to believe. When he finds out what happened on the run, he's gonna rabbit. We need to chase him down before that happens. How do we find this guy? There's a man here in the Kreutz Bazaar, a Turk named Altug Burak Ghazi. He owns a little soy calf shop just down the way called Cafe Sev? Cafe Sev? This man is also a purveyor of information. I've done business with him from time to time. And do you think he would know something about Green Winters? Amstel nods. When I discovered Monica's renewed association with Grin Winters, I contacted Altug. One of his people has been keeping tabs on Winters ever since. As I said, I do not trust the man. For good reason, it would seem. I'll talk to Altug and see what he knows about Green Winters. Very well. Tell him I sent you. I will do what I can to dig up information, the information that you've uncovered already, sparse though it may be. Okay, so gain 5 karma and some conversation. Okay, let's see what we'll do. I'm noticing the time, and I don't think I can afford to do some of the dialogue. I know there's a little bit of shouting involved, and the walls are relatively thin in this apartment, so I think I'm going to call it for tonight. I'll see if there's any points that I can spend before I sign off, but I'll just do a little wrap-up in the end, as I usually do. So I'm thinking I'll maybe skip any of the combat-related stuff. Intelligence I don't have enough karma for, but I do have enough for decking, so I think what I'll probably do is just try and level up my decking and intelligence-related ones as much as I can. So I can equip a few chief. Oh, so I get a better deck. Well, I don't automatically get a better deck, but I can use it. Okay. Alright, so I know that's very dialogue heavy, and I know my narration isn't always the best thing that I can do. Oh, hey. I need to know what I can... You know what, I'll just figure this stuff out for next stream. So yeah, I know my dialogue is not always the best, but I don't know. I'm definitely glad that I started playing this game. I think the setting's really interesting. I mean, I know Dead Man's Switch had sort of the interesting premise of a detective story motivated by a message from a dead man. So it's it's not without its own interest, but just all of the things that they've introduced in it. I mean, the job gone wrong is a trope. That's maybe not the point of the interest, but the idea of the Dragonfall, you know, this lost historical event, in that you have, you know, a dragon killing tens of thousands of people, and it is something that's forgotten because everything that happens after it is apparently so terrible, or that much more terrible. And the fact that it's coming back, or at least meaningfully enough that it's involved, you know, your partner gives it as the last words. It's definitely, like, there's enough threads of interest that I want to keep playing this. So, she thought the readings were pretty good, not over the top and consistent. Oh, thank you, The Apprentice. It's nice of you to say. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm done for tonight. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. It looks like a few people are already filing out, so I will keep this brief. I do want to take another moment. I know I posted this earlier, but there is a Kickstarter going on for the next chapter of this game. I've already... I mean, they've earned quite a bit of goodwill from me. So I pretty much bought it sight unseen. I'm really happy I did, because Dragonfall is shaping up to be an interesting story, and one that I'm looking forward to continue playing. We got through some FTL tonight. Started Dragonfall. I think I'm going to do it a little bit more often, but I do also want to get back to Crusader Kings as well, so we'll probably do that on the next stream. I will be uploading a couple of VODs for the SFU cast. Again, it's not really great stuff, but the players wanted to have something, so I'll be giving that to them. They'll likely be found inside the highlights. Almost certainly they'll be included in the YouTube channel, although I'd like to try to keep Twitch stuff on Twitch. But that's it for tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming out and watching. You guys definitely make it a lot better, and I know especially during FTL there was that moment where I needed to run out and get something for an extended break, so I appreciate that you guys stay through me and stuff like that. If you are new to the channel and you liked what you saw, I am trying to keep a somewhat regular streaming schedule, but feel free to hit the follow button if you would like to be informed of when I'm coming online next. And the last thing I'll just ask of you guys, if you can stay on for a couple of minutes. I do like to try and host somebody. I'll see if there's somebody available. If it's not your thing, then you just give them a couple of minutes at least to pique your interests. And if it turns out that it's not something that interests you, I will wish you luck in finding your other forms of entertainment. I commonly hear that I am a little quick to hit the host button, so I'll give it a couple of minutes before I finish, before I So I can finish my sentence on what you hear, and then I will be hosting Jesse Quill, who is currently playing Resident Evil Remastered. But finally, thanks again for stopping by. It's been a lot of fun. I'm very glad we're doing this again, and I wish you all a very good evening. And I wish you all a very good evening.